We've all been there in software testing. You've got this one test, but you need to run it with just a massive amount of data. How do you do that without losing your mind? Well, today, we're going to look at how a simple tool can build a bridge to make our automated tests incredibly efficient. Let's dive in.
Okay, so picture this. You're a tester. You've got a login form, and it has to be perfect. You need to test it with 1,000 different username and password combos. Are you really going to sit there and type every single one in by hand? No way, right? Of course not. So how does it actually get done?
The secret sauce is this. Instead of hard-coding every single password into your test script, you separate the what to do, the test logic, from the what to use, which is the test data. And believe me, this simple separation changes absolutely everything.
This whole method actually has a name. It's called data-driven testing. And the name really says it all. The testing is literally driven by the data. You write one single smart test script. Then you store all your data, your usernames, passwords, whatever you need, in a totally separate file, like an Excel spreadsheet. The script then just reads from that file, running once for every single row of data. That means one script can power endless tests.
Now this all sounds pretty great, doesn't it? But there's a catch. There's a problem. Our main tool for web automation, Selenium, has this one pretty significant blind spot. It's fantastic at what it does, don't get me wrong, but it can't quite do everything we need it to. And this really shows the contrast, right? Selenium is an absolute master of the web. It can click, it can type, it can navigate a browser better than anything. But what happens if you ask it to open and read an Excel file? It has no idea what you're talking about. See, by default, Selenium only understands web pages. That makes it completely blind to external files like Word documents or, and this is the important one for us, Excel spreadsheets.
And that brings us to the central question here. We've got this super powerful web automation tool on one side, and then we have all of our valuable test data locked away in an Excel file on the other. How do we build a bridge between them?
And here it is. Here's our solution. The bridge is a free, open-source library called Apache POI. This is the tool that's going to solve our problem and finally connect Selenium to all of our data.
This is how the Apache Foundation officially describes it, and honestly, it's the perfect summary. Apache POI is a Java library, and it's specifically designed to let Java programs communicate with Microsoft Office documents. You can think of it as a universal translator. So, here's the crucial point. Apache POI isn't just for Excel. It can handle Word, PowerPoint, other Microsoft formats too. But for our purposes today, it acts as that vital translator. Our Selenium script, which is based in Java, speaks Java, and the Excel file has its own complex internal structure. POI stands right in the middle, allowing the two of them to understand each other perfectly.
Okay, so to use this translator, we first need to understand the language it's translating, right? We need to know how Apache POI actually sees and understands the structure of an Excel file.
Apache POI sees an Excel file as a really simple hierarchy. Just think of a filing cabinet. The entire Excel file itself, that's the workbook. That's your whole filing cabinet. Inside that cabinet, you have different tabs, right? Those are the sheets, and they're like the individual folders in the cabinet. Each folder contains pages, which are the rows of data. And finally, that one specific piece of information you're looking for, that's in a cell. Workbook, sheet, row, cell. It's just a clear, logical path to get to any piece of data.
And here's the best part. In the actual code, Apache POI makes this incredibly intuitive. For each level of that hierarchy we just walked through, there's a corresponding Java class. So if you want to work with the whole workbook, you use the XSF workbook class. Need a specific sheet? You use XSF sheet, and it's the same thing for rows and cells. This direct one-to-one mapping makes the code really clean and super easy to understand.
Okay, so we've got our web automation tool, Selenium. We've got our data translator, Apache POI. Now let's put it all together and see how they work to create our data-driven test.
The process flows exactly like that hierarchy we just learned. First, your code opens the Excel file. Then POI grabs the entire workbook. You tell it which sheet you want to work with. From there, you just create a loop to go through every single row on that sheet. And inside that loop, you have another loop that goes through every cell in that row. With each little step, you grab the data and you just hand it off to Selenium. Selenium then takes it and types it into the login form on the website, and then the loop just repeats for the next row and the next and the next until all of your data has been tested. And that right there, that is the magic.
By building this bridge with Apache POI, we've basically enabled Selenium to do something it could never do on its own. We've created a system where one well-written test script can effortlessly run hundreds, maybe even thousands of different variations. This is what true automation efficiency really looks like.
So, as we wrap this up, I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Now that you know how to connect your automations to a practically endless supply of data, what new possibilities does that open up for you? What kind of complex scenarios could you finally automate if data was no longer a barrier? Thanks for watching.